to the class once again. So today we are going to discuss about once again the heat equation. So in the last few classes we have discussed about the Laplace equation, and we have discussed various formulas to find different kinds of formula. And the last class we have discussed about this heat equation and how to obtain the solutions. We obtained V dash of x comma t, and then we followed the solutions. So this V of x comma t, how did we obtain is that we have used this formula like I have used V of x comma t is equal to, so this is the formula I have used in the last class. V of x comma t is equal to V of x square by t. I have substituted, and then I have tried to convert the problem into ODE problem. In that ODE problem, we try to solve the problem. We obtain the solutions by various assumptions that pi of x comma t is going to become like V dash of x comma t, and then we obtain this one. Now, using this one, we are going to construct a solution called fundamental solution. Okay, so that's what we are going to do in this class, and then some of the extension of that idea will go away. So we have discussed about this pi of x comma t in the last class. This pi of x comma t, you can verify that. You can simply verify this one. Pi t is going to be pi x is going to come. Okay, pi t, you can check that. Pi t is going to have some term is going to come, and you do the same thing for pi x, we are going to get that. Okay, so therefore, since pi t equal to pi x, what you can say is that this is going to be the solution for our heat equation is going to be there. Okay, so this concept I'm just going to generalize. Okay, so here you have square root of 1 by 2 into square root of pi by t is there. Okay, so that one I'm just going to generalize that, and then going to obtain the answers for the n-dimensional case. That's what we are going to do in this class. So last class we have discussed this one, 1 by 2 into square root of pi t into e power minus 6 square by 4t we have used. Same thing, let us do for the general n-dimensional case. Okay, that is a general extension, pi of x comma t. I'm going to write it as 1 by 4 pi t whole power n by 2, okay, into e power minus mod x square by 4t. And same kind of thing. So here it is a, if I put n equal to 1, you are going to get 4 by square root of 4 pi t is going to come. That is going to become like 2 into square root of pi t is going to come. Remaining things are going to be same. So here it was x square because it is a one-dimensional case. Therefore it was x square. Okay. So here it is a n-dimensional case. Therefore it is going to become like mod x square or norm of x square. Okay. So where x belongs to r power n. Yeah. Where x belongs to r power n and t is greater than or equal to 0. Okay. And 0, x belongs to r power n and t less than 0. At t equal to 0, some initial conditions or other conditions I will be providing. Okay, that we are not discussing right now. So for n-dimensional case, I'm just going to define this function. This is called, okay, this pi is called fundamental solution. Okay, fundamental solution of heat equation. This is called the fundamental solution for the heat equation. Okay. So the derivation is very simple. We are going to, so far in the 1 or 2 for the Laplace equation or wave equation also, we have not proved some of the theorems. So for all these things together, I'm going to prove this theorem. So the same concept you can use for the Laplace equation and wave equation also. Okay. So that is a theorem. We are going to prove it right now, which I have given as an exercise for 1 or 2 cases. The same thing we are going to prove it now. Okay. So let us define this one. Let us define u of x comma t equal to, so how do we obtain this one? So here we have used to u of x comma t is equal to v of x square by t, and then we obtain, right? Now we are going to do some other derivations. What we are going to do is that we are going to find a similar kind of things where we are going to say that this u is going to be the solution for this n-dimensional equation, etc. So let us define this u of x comma t for the n-dimensional case as follows. For n equal to 1, I have defined my u of x comma t in this way. Now for n greater than 1, okay, so what I'm going to do is that, or even n equal to 1 also, you can get a similar kind of thing. So n greater than 1, what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to define 1 by d power alpha v of x by t power beta. Okay, where x is a vector, okay, not a scalar, it's a vector. Where x belongs to r power n and t greater than 0. Okay, so now in order to satisfy for these conditions to be satisfied, so these are all for this condition we are going to do. So these are all true for these conditions. Okay, for one-dimensional case, this is the one-dimensional case. So this we have derived in the last class. Now for n-dimensional case, I'm just defining a similar kind of function. Okay, instead of v of x square by t, I'm just going to define 1 by t power alpha into v of x by t power beta. I got to find. Now our job is to find. Okay, we got to find alpha and beta. Okay, alpha and beta, we need to find the constants, and the function v of r power n to r we got to find. So if we are finding this one, then what we are going to do is that we are going to find the general solution for your a of x comma t. T is going to be obtained. Okay, that formula we are going to derive. Okay, some representation formula or other formula we are going to find it. So let me try this way. Okay, so suppose we find a solution u. Okay, suppose we find a solution u in n-dimensional case of the heat equation which is invariant under dilation scaling. Means what I'm going to do is that suppose you find a solution for v of x comma t, for which what you are going to do is that suppose you multiply by some lambda. Okay, multiply by some lambda wherever x is there, wherever t is there. In the parameter, I'm just going to multiply by some lambda, and that is going to be called as dilation invariant. Dilation invariant means, what is the definition of dilation invariant is that u of x comma t. Okay, so if I substitute lambda in that one, then what it is going to come is that you are going to get some lambda power alpha into u of lambda power beta into x comma lambda t is going to come. Okay, this is going to be there. This is going to be there for this is the thing called dilation invariant. Okay, the invariant under dilation scaling. So dilation means I'm just multiplying by, instead of x and t, I'm just multiplying by some constant. So therefore it is going to come outside. I don't know about alpha and beta, that we need to estimate right now. So in that case, something is going to come. Okay, the dilation means you are just going to take something out and something is going to be there. Therefore it is going to be invariant under dilation. Means the setup is not going to change. Only some multiplication is going to come and some parameter is going to change. Okay, that's what we are going to do. Almost similar kind of things we have did it in the one-dimensional case. I got multiplied by lambda x and lambda t, and then we got proved that if u lambda t and u lambda x also solution, we have proved in the last class. So almost similar kind of setup we are going to do. So whatever we did for the one-dimensional case, same kind of things we are going to extend it for the n-dimensional case. Okay, so this is true for all x belongs to r power n and t greater than 0 and lambda greater than 0, it should be true. Then it is called dilation invariant. This is the assumption I'm going to make. Then what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to set lambda equal to 1 by t. Okay, I'm just going to set lambda equal to 1 by t. For that case also it should be true. Okay, because this is for any lambda, it should be true. So in this case, this is particularly lambda equal to 1 by t also, it is going to be true. So then what I'm going to set, this is going to become like u of x comma t is going to become like 1 by t power alpha. Okay, almost similar kind of setup. U of x by t power beta comma 1 is going to come. So I'm just keeping lambda equal to 1 by t, therefore it is going to become like this one. So I'm just keeping another substitution. Okay, y equal to x by t power beta. Then what is our y is u of x by t comma beta is going to become is that this one I can write it as, okay, this one I can write it as v of y comma 1. This I'm just going to write as v of y, sorry, v of y I'm going to write as u of y comma 1. Okay, v of y is going to become like u of y comma 1, particular case. Okay, so therefore what you are going to get this one, u of x comma t is going to become like 1 by t power alpha into v of y is going to come. Okay, in particular v of y is going to become like u of y comma 1. Therefore u of x comma t is going to become like 1 by t power alpha into v of y is going to come. So from this one, what you can prove is that you can prove this one. Okay, you can prove. I'm just leaving it to you as an exercise. What we are going to prove is that when beta equal to 1 by 2, okay, when beta equal to 1 by 2, v of y, okay, v of y is defined this way, v of y comma 1 is there. V of y is going to satisfy this condition, alpha into v of y plus half into y dot d v of y plus delta v of y equal to 0. This is simple one. Okay, so you calculate what is these things. Okay, so if beta equal to 1 by 2, what you got to prove is that, so substitute beta equal to 1 by 2 here. Okay, so because y equal to x by t power beta is there, substitute that, then beta equal to 1 by 2 means you can prove this one. Okay, almost the proof is there in the previous one. Part of the proof is there in the previous lecture. Use that, then you can prove this very easily. Just 3-4 lines proof you're requiring. So what you need to find is that you need to find. So in general, what you need to find is that you need to find what is your dv. Dv means you got to find v with respect to the first variable. Okay, vxi you got to find. Then vxi you got to find. Then you can substitute that. Okay, so that is going to be that. So this is, leave it as an exercise. Okay, so this is assume that this is going to be done. Okay, let us assume that this is going to be true. Now using this concept, okay, so this is left as an exercise. Using this concept, what we are going to do is that we are going to prove, I'm going to make some more assumptions, okay, and then we are going to solve this problem. The assumption number, next assumption is that I'm going to take V as a radial. Okay, we are going to assume V to be radial. Means once again we are going to do something like kind of a ball kind of things we did, right? Same kind of things we are going to do here. So V is assumed to be radial. Okay, V is assumed to be radial means I can write it as, it can be that you can find a function W such that V of Y is going to become like W of R, because it is radial. So only with respect to R I'm going to do. So this R is nothing but what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to write as W of mod Y. Okay, W of mod Y. So V is radial means there exists a function W such that W of R equal to W of mod Y. Okay. So therefore this equation is going to become like, these are equal. Therefore this is going to become like alpha of W. The W is with respect to R plus this I'm going to write it as Y dot dVy is there. Okay, Y dot dVy. I'm going to write it as half into R W dash. Okay, Y dot W is there. R Y dot Y is going to become like R is going to come. So R into W dash is going to come because dV is there. And then you have del Vy. So the del Vy we have seen in the last class also, two term is going to come, okay, because del Vy means Uxx is going to come. So there will be a double derivative and a single derivative is going to come. So that is going to become like this. We have proved in wavy case itself, same kind of thing. Okay. So W dash n minus 1 by R into W dash is that equal to 0. Okay, this equation is there. So I'm just substituting V of I and then going to find that. Now let me assume alpha equal to n by 2. Okay, another assumption. So these are all assumptions only. Okay, alpha equal to n by 2. Then this is going to become like n by 2 into W plus half into RW dash plus W dash plus n minus 1 by R into W dash equal to 0 is going to come. Now R is a non-zero one. So I'm just multiplying 1. Okay, even if it is 0 also not a problem. So R I'm just multiplying. So therefore this is going to become like R power n minus 1. Okay, R power n minus 1 I'm going to multiply. So R power n minus 1, this is going to become like R power n. And this is going to become like R power n minus 1. Okay, here. And then here it is going to become like R power n minus 1, 2 is going to come. Okay, R power n minus 2 into W dash is going to come. Equal to 0. So I'm just collecting the terms. Okay, so 1 by 2. So these two terms I'm just going to club it. So this is going to become like n by 1 by 2 into n into R power n minus 1 into W plus this is going to become like R power n into W dash. Okay, plus this is going to become like R power n minus 1 W double dash plus n minus 1 into R power n minus 2 into W dash equal to 0. So I can see this one. Okay, so if you see this one I can write it as 1 by 2 into, okay, I can write it as R and W dash is there. Okay, so if I just take it, okay, let me take this one. So this one I can write it as R and W dash dash. Okay, sorry, R and W dash is going to come. No dash. So this one, so you can see that UV rule you can apply. So if I take the dash, R and W dash is going to come, and then this one if I apply, this is going to become like n into R power n minus 1 W is going to come. Same way here. So this I'm just going to take it as R power n minus 1 into W dash I'm going to take it. Okay, this is going to become like R power n minus 1 W dash. Okay, whole dash. So you can see that this is going to become like R power n minus 1 W double dash. Okay, first one. Second one is going to become like n minus 1 into R power n minus 1 2 into W dash. So this is going to be 0. Okay, or I can write it as this one together. Okay, this one together I can write it this way. R power n W plus R power n minus 1 W dash equal to 0. So if this entire thing is 0, okay, so that I can write it as this is going to become like I can sorry. Okay, this is going to be okay. So this is going to be 0. Okay, so if this is going to be the entire derivative is 0 means what you are going to get is that this is going to become like constant, because this is the with respect to dr I'm going, so therefore it is going to become like a constant. Okay, so there are several assumptions I have made. One is radial I have assumed, and then I have assumed alpha equal to n by 2. Now, if and one more assumption I'm going to make it. Suppose limit r tends to infinity, w equal to 0, okay, and limit r tends to infinity, w dash is going to become 0. These two assumptions I'm going to take it. Okay. So in that case, if I allow that limit r tends to infinity here, then this is going to become like 0. This c is going to become like 0. Okay, because both are tending to 0. So therefore, you are going to get this as 0. So therefore, this is going to imply, so if c is becoming 0, okay, so c is going to become 0. That means what you are going to get is that you are going to get w dash is going to become like, okay, so r power n minus 1, r power n is going to get cancelled. So you are going to get w dash is going to become like minus r by 2, w is going to come. Okay, so this is a simple equation, simple ODE equation, for which the solution is going to become like, so this is going to be like w equal to e power some constant is going to come. Okay, so that there will be constant. So use the integration formula. Then you are going to get some constant is going to come. Okay, so k into e power minus r square by 4 is going to come. Okay, with respect to r, I got to do, so it is going to become like log w, and then you are going to get this one, e power minus k square r by 4. So I have made these assumptions, and then I have derived this one. But we have seen that v of x comma t is v of y. We have taken that. Therefore, this is going to become like v of x comma t is going to become like, okay, k into t power alpha. I have taken as n by 2. Okay, so you remember the last one. The last one we have discussed this one. Okay, so u of x comma t I have mentioned as 1 by t power alpha. 1 by t power alpha v of y I have mentioned. Okay, so therefore this is going to become from this one. Now I have taken alpha equal to n by 2. Therefore this is going to become like 1 by t power n by 2. Now I have proved that v of y is equal to w of r. So that is nothing but e power minus r square by 4. But what is r? R is nothing but modulus of y. That means modulus of x is going to come in this case. Okay, so therefore this is going to become like k into, okay, this k is coming, e power minus r square, that is going to become like minus mod x square by 4 t is going to come. Okay, with respect to because v of y is going to be in terms of t is going to be there. Okay, v of y, you are going to have x comma t is there, so there is a t is also involved over there. Okay, therefore it is going to become like t power alpha into v of y is going to become like e power minus x square by 4t. So this is going to be the solution of the heat equation for your case. Now only one job is remaining. We need to find what is our k. Okay, the k part, k we have to determine what is going to be there. Okay, that's what we are going to do next. Any questions? Any questions so far? Okay, so let us determine k. Okay, let us assume some k. What I'm going to choose is that I'm going to choose my k in such a way that my pi is going to become like 1. Okay, pi, the pi we have defined right in the fundamental solution in such a way that I'm going to choose it. Then this is going to become like my k, so that my pi is going to become like 1. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. So let us see that. So let us choose k equal to, so we have seen this one, the pi. So this is the derivation part which I am just doing. How did we arrive this fundamental solution? Because the fundamental solution I have written this way. So pi of x comma t is going to become like 1 by 4 pi t whole power n by 2 e power minus x square by 4t. So this is the one I am going to derive. So in order to make this to happen, what I got to choose is that I got to choose my k in such a way that this is going to be there. So from that only we are going to obtain it. Okay, so we are going to choose our pi, sorry, k is going to be 1 by 4 pi whole power n by 2. Okay, if I choose my k in this way, then what you are going to get is that you are going to get your integral over r power n pi of x comma t is going to be 1. Okay, for each time t greater than 0, irrespective of t, it is going to be 1. Okay, so if you choose this way, it is going to come. So let us prove that one also. Okay, so what is it going to come? So this is nothing but my pi of x comma t, where k is not there. That k I am just going to choose this one. Therefore, my fundamental solution is going to come in this way. So therefore, we got to prove this one. Okay, so integral pi of x comma t is going to become like 1 by 4 pi t whole power n by 2. Okay, I'm just using this one. E power mod x square by 4t dx. Okay, this is going to become like 1 by 4 pi n by 2, 1 by pi power n by 2. Okay, so I'm just using the substitution z equal to 1 by t. Okay, z equal to 1 by 4t, and this is going to become like that's a once you use that one, there's a dz is going to come. Okay, so put z equal to 1 by 4t. Okay, then this is going to become like I can or you can put sorry minus x by 4t. Okay, then this is going to become like you can put this is going to become like I'm going to get integral over r power n e power mod z square is going to come. Dx will come, so that is going to get cancelled here. It is z equal to minus x power 4t. So here there is this is n dimensional ball, therefore n values will come. Okay, you got to sum it up. Okay, once you take the derivatives, etc. So it is going to become like mod z square dz. Okay, so this one I can write it as this is over r power n. So this one I can write it as each one is independent. Okay, because e power minus z square is going to be there. So therefore this one I can write it as r e power minus z1 square dz1. Okay, and then e power minus z2 square dz, because exponential function. So e power x plus y, you know that e power x plus y means I can write as e power x and e power y. So therefore, if I take the integration with respect to dx dy, I can write as dx into this dy. I can write it. So same thing I'm doing here. Okay. So in general, I can write this as 1 by 5 power n by 2 product of I equal to 1 to n integral over r e power minus zi square dzi. So you know this one. This is gamma integral. Okay, gamma integral. So you know that what is the value of this one. So it is going to become like square root of pi. For each one, it is going to become like square root of pi. So square root of pi, square root of pi, it is going to be repeatedly coming. Therefore, n terms are there, n products are there. Therefore, n times you are going to get. So it is going to become like same thing. So both are going to get cancelled. So you are going to get 1. Okay. So this proof is very simple. Now, next one, what we are going to do is that. So this is the one which we got described for the fundamental solution. Okay, this pi is going to be the fundamental solution. Okay, for t greater than 0 and t less than 0, it is 0. This is the fundamental solution for the heat equation. Okay, so this we got it for the homogeneous. This is going to. So in this case, what it is going to do is that we are going to define what is our u of x comma t in terms of pi of x comma t. I am going to define. So if I have a problem like ut minus del u equal to 0 in r power n cross 0 comma infinity, and u equal to f in r power n cross 0, okay, t equal to 0. Then in this case, how do I find the fundamental solution? Is that for the solution for the heat equation is that you can use this one e of x comma t is going to become like integral over r power n pi of x minus y comma t into f of y dy. Okay, so you know what is e power pi of x minus y t. So that is nothing but e power minus x square. So therefore this is going to be e power 1 by 4 pi t whole power n by 2 e power minus mod x minus y whole square by 4t into f of y dy. So this is the solution for u of x comma t in the case of this problem. Okay, the initial value problem is this one. For this is the general solution for that. Okay, it is in r power n. Now for ball and half space, again we got to define that. So now what I'm going to do is that. So this almost similar kind of things we have derived in Laplace equation as well as in wave equation, but I have not proved this theorem. Mostly I have given this proof as a theorem exercise to you, but for this case I'm going to prove that. Okay, this case I'm going to prove that. So assume that, okay, almost 2-3 theorems of similar kind I have given as an exercise to you. For this case I'm going to prove that. So you can use the same logic to prove the other cases also. Let us see that how to prove this theorem. So the theorem is that, let us assume f belongs to C of r power n intersection L infinity of r power n, and define u by 1. So u is this one. Okay, so this equation u is defined by this way. Then what we got to prove is that you got to prove that this u belongs to C infinity of r power n cross 0 comma infinity, and it is going to satisfy ut minus del u equal to 0, and u equal to f is going to be there for this condition. Okay, that's what we are going to prove in this one. So the same logic almost you can use it for your other theorems which I have given as an exercise earlier. Okay. So let us prove this theorem with the details. How to obtain the proof. Okay. So what is our u? U is this way. U of x comma t is given as follows. U of x comma t is equal to 1 by 4 pi t whole power n by 2. Okay. Integral r power n e power minus x minus y whole square by 4t into f of y dy. Okay. So it is given that f belongs to c of r power n intersection L infinity of r power n. Okay. So claim number 1, what I got to prove is that I got to prove that, okay, to prove. So I'm going to prove u belongs to c infinity of r power n. Let us prove that. Okay. R power n cross 0, infinity. Let us prove this one first. Okay, the proof as follows. So you know this function, okay, this function e power minus mod x square by 4t. This is infinitely differentiable. Exponential function is infinitely differentiable. Okay, and also you know that this is uniformly bounded because there is a minus sign, so it is going to be uniform bounded. Okay, boundedness is going to be there, and it is going to be uniformly bounded also because here minus is there, the exponential function is going to be there. It is not going to it is not going to enlarge at any time, so it is going to be uniformly bounded also. Okay. Not only this one, if you take any derivatives, that is also going to be infinitely uniformly bounded. Okay, it is infinitely differentiable, and all its derivatives are going to be uniformly bounded. So therefore, what you can claim is that since it is uniformly bounded, okay, and it is infinitely differentiable, and all are uniformly bounded, what you can claim is that u is going to belongs to c infinity of r power n, because once you apply this over here, okay, what you are going to get is that this is going to be infinitely differentiable. Already it is given that f belongs to c of r power n, and you are going to multiply that only. So in that case, what you are going to get is that once again it is infinitely L infinity of r power n is going to be there. Therefore, what you are going to get is that whatever you do, the UV rule, you keep on applying that. So what you are going to get is that again you are going to get this u of x comma t. Okay, just take the u dash of x comma t. You are going to get e power once again the differentiation etc. is going to come. Again this UV rule etc. is going to come. So once again what you are going to get is that you are going to get your u is going to be in c infinity of r power n. Okay. So that is the 2-line proof for this one. Okay, only 2 lines proof. Because of this infinitely differentiable and uniformly bounded derivatives of all orders, you are going to get this one. Okay, so therefore this is done. Now next one, what we got to claim is that we got to claim ut minus del u equal to 0. We got to claim second part. Okay, so that is also little easy. Ut minus del u equal to 0. Okay, this we got to claim. So let me calculate what is ut minus del u. That is going to become like integral over r power n. Okay, so this is going to be pi t. Okay, because this is u of x comma t is having integral of pi of x comma t is there. Okay, so therefore this is going to become like pi t minus pi of del x pi of x minus y comma t into f of y dy is going to come into f of y dy. Okay. Now we know that pi is satisfying, so that we have already claimed. In the first itself, we got started with that. So pi is going to satisfy. It is easy to verify that pi t is going to satisfy this one. So therefore, this is going to be 0. Pi t equal to pi x is there. So this term is going to be 0. Therefore, this is going to be 0. Okay. So using that, we have claimed this part. Second part is done. Now only for third part, we require some little tedious work. So that we will go slowly. Okay. So how to prove that? Let us see that. So only for third part. So third part is we need to prove that. What we need to prove is that u of x comma t is equal to f of x naught, where x comma t tends to x naught comma 0, x belongs to r power n, and t greater than 0. This is the part we got to prove. So let us prove that. How do we prove? So in order to prove that, what you need to claim is that you need to claim. what you need to prove is that as a convergence definition, whatever we used to do, same kind of thing. So what I need to prove is that I got to claim that u of x comma t minus f of x naught, okay, modulus is less than epsilon for all epsilon greater than 0, okay, and for all x naught in r power n. Whenever, okay, I got to prove that the convergence whenever x minus x naught less than delta t greater than 0. Okay, so this is the one I got to prove. This is the claim I got to prove. Then that proof is done. Okay, so once again we will be getting trouble because there is the x minus y term is there. So only those places maybe we'll get into the trouble. So that part we got to take care. Okay, so we'll do that. So let us fix an x naught. Let us fix an x naught. Let us fix an x naught such that belongs to r power n. Okay, and choose epsilon greater than 0, such that I'm going to choose. Let me see one sec. Actually, this would be g, not g, just vf. Okay, such that this is going to be modulus of f of y minus f of x naught. F of x naught less than epsilon by 2 whenever y minus x naught is less than delta, comma y belongs to r power n. Is it possible for fixed epsilon x naught belongs to r power n, epsilon greater than 0 such that, because our f is belongs to c of r power n. Okay, that means it's a continuous function. So I'm just using the continuous function definition. That's all. Okay, f of y minus f of x naught less than epsilon by 2 whenever y minus x naught is less than delta. I'm just applying the continuity definition here. Okay, so therefore what you are going to do now, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to find what is u of x comma t minus f of x naught, u of x comma t minus f of x naught. So I know what is u of x comma t, that I can write as integral r power n pi of x minus y comma t into f of y dy. Okay, minus f of x naught is going to be there. Now f of x naught I can write as f of x naught dot 1. Okay, I can write as f of x naught dot 1. But already we have claimed one thing. Integral pi of x comma t is going to be 1. Therefore, this one I can write it as integral f of x naught into pi of x comma t over r power n. Okay. So here, instead of that, I'm just going to put it in this way: pi of, okay, x minus y comma t, both are same. Okay, x minus y comma t into dy. I'm going to keep it. Okay, f of x naught comma 1. So therefore, I can take pi of x minus y t in both places common. Okay, so therefore, this is going to become like integral over r power n pi of x minus y comma t into f of y minus f of x naught into dy. Therefore, if I take a modulus here, okay, there is a modulus is going to come, and this is going to be modulus. Okay. So next one, what I'm going to claim is that I'm going to take I'm going to take my x minus x naught less than delta by 2 and then going to prove that. Okay. So let us take x minus, suppose x minus x naught is less than delta by 2. X minus x naught is less than delta by 2. Then what it is going to come? This is going to be less than or equal to. Okay, so this is going to be less than or equal to. I'm just going to bring that what is that modulus inside. So therefore, this is going to become like integral over r power n pi modulus of pi of x minus y comma t. But this is a positive one. Okay, because e power minus is going to be there. Therefore, I don't need to worry about the positive or negative. So it is going to be positive always. Okay, so therefore, only the modulus is only for here minus f of y minus f of x naught into dy. Okay, so this one I'm going to split it into two parts. One is r power, one is called b of x naught comma delta. Okay, I'm just going to take b of x naught comma delta. I'm going to take. Okay, and then union I can write as rn minus b of x naught comma delta. Almost same logic whatever we used in the wave equation, similar kind of things. Okay, so I'm going to split it into two parts. So now, therefore, this is going to be split into two parts. One with respect to rn minus one with respect to rn minus b of x naught comma delta is going to come, right? So I'm going to put a plus term here. So one with respect to rn minus b of x naught comma delta, that integral I'm going to call it as j. Okay, so only this integral I'm going to keep it. for this integral, what I have is that I have whenever y minus x naught is less than delta, okay, what I'm going to have is that it is going to be f of y minus f of x naught is going to be less than epsilon by 2 is going to come. Okay, so therefore I have chosen my x minus x naught less than delta by 2. Therefore, I can choose my y in such a way that if I choose this one, this is going to become like what I'm going to get is that this is going to be less than epsilon, because if you choose your y belongs to p of x naught comma delta, what you are going to get is that this is going to be inside this radius y minus x naught by delta. So I have chosen x minus x naught less than delta by 2, so that this is going to be there. Okay, y minus x naught is less than delta is going to come whenever y belongs to p of x naught comma delta. So therefore, what you are going to get is that this is going to be true. Okay, this is going to be true. So that I can write it as either epsilon by 2. I can just put it as epsilon here. I'm going to keep it. Okay, so because epsilon by 2 is still less than epsilon, I can put. So that I'm keeping it as less than epsilon. This is going to be epsilon. Entire thing is going to be epsilon. Okay, because f of y minus f of x naught is going to be less than epsilon. Epsilon I can take it out, and then pi of x minus y comma t into dy is going to come. That is going to be 1. Okay, the same concept we have used here. So pi of x minus y comma t into f of into dy is going to be 1. So therefore, that is going to be epsilon into 1 plus j is going to come. Okay. So now what we need to prove is that what about this j? Where this j is going to belongs to? So what I need to prove is that I need to prove that e of x comma t minus f of x naught less than epsilon I got to prove. So in this case, if I prove that j tends to 0 as t tends to 0, then I'm done that. Okay, I can do that. My proof will be done. So since this j is sitting in r power n minus b of 0 comma delta. Okay, for j integral, you can see that it is r power n minus b of x comma. So y belongs to. So in that case, y where it is going to belong to? Y belongs to r power n minus b of x naught comma delta. So therefore, what you can claim is that this is not inside that. Okay, this is b of x naught comma delta. This is x naught. And this is delta. This is b of x naught comma delta, let us take. Okay, so if my y belongs to somewhere here, then what you can claim is that you can easily prove that y minus x naught is going to be greater than or equal to delta. Okay, it is going to be greater than or equal to delta, because it is somewhere here. Definitely, it is going to be greater than or equal to delta, not less than delta. Okay, because if it is in the boundary, it is going to be here, but it is outside that, so it is always going to be less than or equal, greater than or equal to delta is going to come. So y minus x naught is going to be greater than or equal to delta. So that one, now I'm just going to do some manipulation. So y minus x naught, I can write it as, okay, equal to y minus x plus x minus x naught, I can write. Okay, so this is less than or equal to triangle inequality y minus x plus x minus x naught. Okay, so this is going to be less than or equal to y minus x, and x minus x naught I got chosen as less than delta by 2. Therefore, this is going to be less than delta by 2. But what is delta? Which is less than delta, which is nothing but y minus x naught. Okay, so therefore, this is going to become like, I can write it as equal to less than or equal to y minus x plus x minus, sorry, y minus x naught by 2. So I started with y minus x naught, and I have y minus x plus y minus x naught by 2 is going to come. So therefore, this one I can write as half into, I'm just going to bring it over here, half into y minus x naught is less than or equal to y minus x modulus. Okay, so what I'm left with is that I got to prove that j tends to 0. Okay, so where I'm going to have r power n minus b of x comma delta is going to be there. Okay, so this one. So this part I'm going to write it as, so remaining part let me remove. Okay. So pi of x minus y comma t f of y minus f of x naught dy is going to be there, which I can write it as less than or equal to this one in the integral r power n minus in the region p of x naught comma delta. Okay. So this is going to be my j. Okay, this is j. So less than or equal to what I'm going to write. So this is going to become like f of y minus f of x naught is going to be there. So this one I can write as two parts. Okay, so f of y plus f of x naught I can write it. Okay, so I can just using the triangle inequality, I can write as r power n minus b of x naught comma delta f of y plus r power n minus b of x naught comma delta into f of x naught comma dy. I can write it. So both of the things are going to be, the supremum is going to be less than or equal to. So therefore, you are going to get 2 integral is going to come. So 2 into norm f of L infinity is going to come. Okay. So the integral, I'm just going to take it out. The supremum part, I'm going to take it out. That is going to become like norm f of L infinity is going to come. Then remaining things as it is, r power n minus p of. So there are two integrals here. Okay, one is fy with respect to, another is with respect to f of x naught. So x naught comma delta is going to come, pi of x minus y comma t dy is going to come. Okay, so now let us come back. Okay, so this is going to be less than or equal to, okay, what is this one? This is going to become like j is less than or equal to, j is less than or equal to some constant, okay, because f into L infinity is there, right? That I'm just going to, this is going to be bounded, so it is going to be less than or equal to, I'm going to put it. So that I'm going to call it as some c. This together I'm going to call it as c divided by, so this I'm just applying that as it is, t power n by 2. Okay, so there will be pi of x minus y comma t is there. There will be 4 pi nt etc. is going to come. That is also some constant, right? So that also I'm going to absorb it over here. So therefore, this is going to be less than or equal to c into t power n by 2 r power n minus p of x naught comma delta e power mod x minus y whole square, okay, divided by 4t dy is going to come. Okay, so we know that we have proved that y minus x is less than or equal to, greater than or equal to half into y minus x naught is going to be, by 2 is going to be there. So therefore, if I apply that minus here, therefore this inequality is going to be reversed. So in that case, what you are going to get is that this is going to be less than or equal to, same thing, c power t power n by 2. This is going to become like, okay, so c power t power n by 2 integral r power n minus p of 0 comma p of x naught comma delta. Okay, this is going to be, I'm using this inequality. Okay, so therefore it is going to become like e power minus y minus x naught whole square by, there is a 2 here and there is a 4 here. So 2 square is going to come, therefore it is going to become like 16t. So this one I can write it as, okay, so this one I'm just going to put r equal to y minus x naught. Then this is going to become like this y minus x naught whole square. That is going to become like, I can write it as, I'm going to put some substitution, okay, y minus x naught. So that is going to become like r square by 16t into dy you got to apply. That is going to become like r power n minus 1 dr is going to come using the radial integral. Okay, this is going to be done. Now there is a r term is always involved over here as t tends to infinity. Okay, but sorry, as t tends to, it should be infinity, not 0. I think j tends to 0 as t tends to 0. Yeah, correct. Yeah, t tends to infinity. Sorry, t tends to 0. What it is going to come? This is going to be infinity. Okay, so e power minus r square 16t is going to be there. This is going to be infinity. You might have studied in the analysis course that if you have a polynomial, okay, suppose you have x power n into e power minus x. So in this case, you might have studied that as x tends to infinity, or as x tends to infinity, you are going to get that this integral, this limit is going to be 0, because the exponential series is a dominating one. Although you have a x power n here, whatever be the n, after a certain stage, it is going to be small. So what you are going to get is that you are going to get, this is going to be 0 is going to come. Same logic here. Okay, so that logic you are going to use it here. So e power minus r square by 16t is there. So as t tends to 0, 1 by t tends to infinity. Although here x power n by 2 is there, this is not going to be dominating. Only e power term is going to be dominating. Therefore, this is going to tends to 0. Okay, as t tends to 0. So therefore, our j tends to, j is less than or equal to 0. You can prove it. Okay, as t tends to 0, but j is already positive term. So therefore, you are going to get it is equal to 0. So the proof is done. Any doubts? Okay. So there are some important observations here which you can see are important remarks. What we have proved is that if f is from f belongs to c of r power n, and we have assumed that f belongs to L infinity of r power n. So f is bounded and continuous. Suppose f is bounded and continuous, and f is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so what is this f is coming from? Our equation is that ut minus del u equal to 0 and u equal to f. This is in r power n, and this is in r power. This is r power n cross 0 comma infinity. Okay, and this is r power n cross 0. Initial condition. Okay, this is the initial condition. U equal to f in r power n cross 0. This is the initial condition. Now, if this f is bounded and continuous, okay, and let us assume that f is greater than or equal to 0 and f is not simultaneously 0, then what this theorem is going to say, because what is the u? U is going to be integral over r power n pi of x minus y comma t into f of y dy. Okay. We know that pi of x minus y comma t is always positive. This is the positive one. Okay, that according to the fundamental solutions definition, this is positive because 4 pi t e power x minus y whole square is there. It is going to be positive always. Now f of y is also suppose positive. Okay, f is bounded and f is continuous and f is positive. If f is positive, then what you are going to have is that the integrand is going to be completely positive. If the integrand is going to be positive, then what you are going to have is that you are going to have your heat equation. Okay, the heat equation is going to be having a infinite propagation speed for disturbances. Means if you have some, so what this heat equation is going to say, suppose you give some amount of heat at the initial position. So whatever be the position, whatever be the time, it is going to be keep on prolonging, means that the heat is going to be almost there. Okay, the heat equation force infinite propagation. Infinitely it is going to be propagate for the speed for disturbances. Means it is going to affect all the places. Okay, so that means if the initial temperature, this is the initial temperature, right? According to the heat equation, if the initial temperature is positive somewhere, then the temperature at later stage is going to be positive everywhere. Okay, this is going to be positive everywhere. If it is initial temperature is positive, then later temperature is also going to be positive everywhere. That's what it is going to say. Okay. Whereas in the case of wave equation, it is different. It is going to have a finite speed propagation. Okay, here it is going to have infinite speed propagation, whereas in the wave equation, we might have discussed the same thing, that it is going to have a finite speed propagation. Okay, so remark number 2. So in this one, suppose we have that fundamental equation pi t minus del pi equal to 0. Okay, and pi equal to del naught, that we can write. So that means that same equation. Okay, that equation pi fundamental solution is there, right? So that we can write it in this way: pi t minus del pi equal to 0 in r power 0 comma infinity, and pi equal to del naught means it is going to have a Dirac measure with infinite measure unit mass to the point 0. Okay, that is going to be there. That also I can write it. Okay, now this is for homogeneous problem. Now in homogeneous problem, suppose instead of this one, suppose I have del u ut minus del u equal to h. How can we produce a formula for this one? That is the next topic. Okay, let us see that. So this is once again a similar kind of things what we discussed in the wave equation. Similar kind of setup we have introduced. Same kind of setup we are going to introduce here. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to write pi of x comma y comma t was there, right? So instead of that, what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to observe that I'm just going to write pi of x minus y comma t minus s. This I'm going to observe what is going to be there. So from the fundamental solution, so this is going to be pi of x minus y comma t minus s is also going to be the solution. Going to be the solution for the heat equation. For where it is going to be, it is going to be for all x belongs to r power n, and not for all. So if I just rewrite this one, so substitute something like z equal to, or some let me put let's put some p is equal to t minus s. Okay, then this equation I can write as pi of x minus y comma p. So this is going to be the fundamental solution for all x belongs to r power n. P greater than 0 is going to be there. So p greater than 0 means what? T minus s greater than 0. So that means what? 0 less than s less than t. Okay, so this is going to be the fundamental solution. This fundamental solution is going to be the solution for the heat equation for x belongs to r power n, 0 less than s less than t. For that, it is going to be there. Okay, so using this, what we are going to do is that we are going to produce a solution for this homogeneous equation, where I'm going to transform the problem from making it to 0 and then going to solve that problem. Okay, that's what we are going to do. So as we did it in the wave equation, same kind of things. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to define a thing called u of x comma t s this way. U is equal to u of x comma t semicolon s. Okay, so this is going to be integral over r power n pi of x minus y comma t minus s into h of y comma s dy. Okay, then this problem is going to solve this equation. This is going to solve this equation ut of s minus del u, okay, of s equal to 0 in r power n cross s comma infinity. Okay, because it is 0, 0 less than s less than t. So as t tends to infinity, s also going to be from the s onwards, it is going to be there. Okay, s less than t. And this is going to be u comma del s equal to kach of s. Okay, this is going to be kach dot s in r power n cross t equal to s. This is the initial condition is going to be there. So it is same as the initial value problem which we have solved earlier. Only difference is that we have in the place of u equal to f, here I have a equation called kach of s is there. Okay, t equal to s is going to be there. Instead of t equal to 0, here I have t equal to s, and instead of f here I'm having kach here. Okay, so therefore what you are going to have is that you are going to have u is going to be the solution for this problem. Definitely a solution for this problem. Okay, so u is going to be the solution for this problem. Okay, so this is going to be this u is going to be the solution for this problem also. Okay, since this satisfies this one, this is going to be the solution for this problem also. Okay, now the question is that can we construct a solution for 3 using this one? Okay, using this one, can we construct a solution? Because I should not have any s or anything here. Only this is the function of x and t, right? So there should not be any s involved over there. So the question is that can we remove this s and then find the solution for this one? Okay, that is the question for. The answer is yes, as we have read it in the wave equation, same kind of principle. That principle is called Duhamel's principle. Okay, so in the Duhamel's principle in the wave equation, we might have observed this one. So we have defined this one: u of x comma t is equal to integral over r power integral over 0 to t. Okay, integral over 0 to t u of x comma t semicolon s ds. With respect to s, I have to integrate. So the answer is yes. Using this one, we can obtain the solution for that. Okay, so that is going to become like I can write as integral 0 to t u of x comma ts. I can write as pi of the definition pi of x minus y comma t minus s into kach of y comma s dy. Okay, so what is that one? Integral 0 to t. I'm just applying the definition of pi of x minus y comma t minus s. That is going to become like 1 by 4 pi t power n minus 2 should come here. T minus s is that, therefore t minus s power n by 2 is going to come. Okay, into integral r power n e power minus x minus y whole square by 4t should come here. T minus s is that, so 4t minus s is going to come into kach of y comma s into dy into dt into ds. Okay, with respect to s, I got it. So this is going to be the solution for this equation. Okay, kach of y comma s. It's not done so far. Okay, so this is going to be done. Okay, now we got to prove sorry, here actually not f, here it is t0. We are trying to solve this problem. If f is there, we got to transform it in a differently. Okay, so this is the problem we are solving. Here kach, here 0. Okay, okay, so therefore you are going to have kach of this is going to be the solution for the inhomogeneous PD, inhomogeneous heat equation. Here kach is there, here u equal to 0. Okay, here no f, here 0 is going to be there. So now we can prove this theorem. This is going to be the solution for our heat equation for the inhomogeneous equation. This theorem also we are going to prove it, but I'm not going to prove it today. We'll prove it in the next class. Okay, so we can assume that h belongs to C1 of r power n cross 0 comma infinity, and it has a compact support. Okay, and then we are going to define u in this way. Okay, then what we are going to prove is that u belongs to C1 square of r power n cross 0 comma infinity, and ut this equation is going to be satisfied. Okay, these two equations are going to be satisfied. So that we are going to prove. Remember that the major difference between the theorem 1, theorem 2, and theorem 3. In theorem 2, what I have proved is that if f belongs to C of r power n, u belongs to C infinity. Okay, means that is there, it is going to be infinitely differentiable, and that we are going to do. But in this case, we are not going to say that. We are going to say only u belongs to C1 square only we are saying, not C infinity. Okay, because your kach belongs to C1 square, so you are going to get u belongs to C1 square only, not u belongs to C infinity going to come. Okay, understand the major difference. For homogeneous PDE, if the boundary condition itself belongs to C of R power n, then U is going to belongs to C infinity. But here you are not going to prove that. Okay, it is going to be U belongs to C1 square only. We are going to. Okay, so this one we'll prove it tomorrow in the next class. Okay, when second same kind of things like whatever we used in the wave equation, same kind of thing, K epsilon, I epsilon, etc. Okay, so let us prove it in the next class, and then go for the next topic. Okay, so with this I will stop. If you have any questions, let me know. Any questions? Okay, since these proofs are given, maybe I will ask one of these questions in the exams, the end semester. Okay. So the proof is given directly. So you can derive a similar kind of proof for the wave equation and Laplace equation also. Almost the logic is same. Okay. Okay. Any questions? Okay. If not, thank you.